All right, welcome back, folks. I was gonna do a video in the backyard, but it is pretty toasty, even this morning in Florida here. So I'm just gonna walk actually to a shaded area. I'll probably do a video later tonight or maybe tomorrow night from the backyard. But this video is about high yield ETFs. I promoted YieldMax stuff, Defiance stuff, probably from September of last year all the way through January, I think, and then I stopped doing it. And somebody recently asked me on Discord, hey, Ethan, do you still own any YieldMax? And if so, what? And so I thought I'd talk about that and give you my thoughts on things and where I'm going to be in the future in terms of owning high yield dividend ETFs. I think they're useful. I think some of them are. I think some of them I will never get into. I'll explain why also. So right now, I don't own any YieldMax ETFs, Defiance ETFs, any ETFs like that are dividend ETFs. None. So I used to be in like TLTW, SFAL, JEPI with an I, JEPQ, and a whole bunch of other things in addition to YieldMax, and as well as individual stocks that were dividend stocks like Coca-Cola, McDonald's, 3M, all that kind of stuff. I sold everything in like February, I think. I got rid of the last bits of it, and I went full grayscale. And my thinking was kind of twofold. One, I'm like, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm gonna go full on into grayscale. And after the bull run, after I cash out, then I'll go back and I'll buy some of the index funds, dividend ETFs, growth stocks, all that kind of stuff that I got rid of. I'll just be able to buy more of them because I made more money, obviously, from grayscale than I would have from them. So that's kind of the key. There are some ETFs that I will not get into unless things massively change with them. And for example, those are the Defiance ETFs, specifically IWMY, JEPY, and QQQY. I just want to talk about those a little bit. Now, everybody do your own research and all that kind of stuff. There are a lot of people that love these things. I liked them when they came out. I promoted them. And I was in them for a couple months until I looked at what was happening with the NAV erosion, and I did a calculation of what my distributions after taxes were, and I discovered I'm like, well, I'm basically breaking even. Why am I doing this? The only people making money are A, the IRS, because I'm sending them tax dollars on the distributions, and B, Defiance, because they're taking a cut. So it's like it didn't make any sense for me. I just see it as like a useless place to put my money. That's my opinion. Do your own research. If that's what you want to do, fine. It's not my money. I would never put my money into Defiance funds. It's a waste of time for me. Some of the YieldMax funds, I don't consider safe. It would take a lot for me to ever want to get back into Tesla. I was in Tesla for a couple months, but I got rid of it. I'm glad I did. But there are others that I will probably go into. And here's the way I look at it. I want to look at and see a price chart of at least 6 months worth of price data for these high yield dividend ETFs for me to see, is this a good investment or not? I'm not going to sign up and buy into a new high yield ETFs when they come out. No, I've learned my lesson. I've gotten burned. I'm not going to do that again. So it's like, it's good that I did that, because it's like I made smaller mistakes with less money, and hopefully I won't make those mistakes when I have more money, to put into ETFs that I choose. All right. But anyway, so there are some ETFs that are good. From my perspective right now, and things could change. I'm not going to buy any ETFs for at least 6 months. It's probably not going to be December, January of next year until I actually buy anything for dividend ETFs. So, but when I do, right now, what I'm thinking, good ones to get into from my perspective are FEPI by Rex Shares. It pays 25% dividend. Has good NAV. One thing I don't like about it is it's paying 100% distribution of return of capital, which to me is not good. It just says there's a problem, but they can go on for a while, a couple years doing that before they run into problems and things really change with the fund. So it's going to be safe for me to get into, for a short term, for at least a year and a half while I grow my portfolio to then rotate into grayscale and crypto ETFs and all that kind of stuff. So at least for a short term, FEPI seems like a good one. Some YieldMax ETFs that I would probably go into are things like MSFO, the Microsoft ETF, AMZ, the Amazon one, maybe Nifty and PyPy. I'd have to take a look at the charts. It's been a while. I haven't looked at the charts actually in several months, since I'm not in the market right now to buy into these ETFs. But what I do, it's like I'll be looking at two things primarily. It's one is, what is the yield? What's the average yield out of these ETFs? And two, what does the NAV look like? It's really important to me. A lot of people, unfortunately from my perspective, in the high yield dividend community, don't care what happens to the NAV. All they care about is the paycheck they get. And that's a paycheck mentality, in my opinion. It's not good, because like, I look at investing, no matter how I invest money, where I invest money, my whole purpose of investing is to grow my wealth, grow it, not have it sit idle, not have it degrade. I want it to grow, right? So it's like, so the NAV is very important to me, because it's like I don't have my dividends, most of these, at least these ETFs, I'm not going to have them in a tax-free account. Some of them I will be in my smaller tax-free account, but my bigger portfolio, it's a taxable account, so I have to pay taxes on distributions. So I have to take that into consideration when I'm looking at these things. You know, I'll probably put quite a bit back into kind of the old standards that I was in, like TLTW, SFOL, JEPI, JEPQ, stuff like that, that were not low yielders, but kind of mid yielders, because they worked and they were pretty decent. And, you know, so I'll go there, but FEPI and MSFO and a couple others from YieldMax I'll probably go into. I'm not touching the Defiance stuff. It doesn't work for me. The math does not work. It doesn't make sense. If I were in an IRA, maybe, but it's still, when I do the calculation, I look at it and I calculate like what I get in distributions minus the NAV erosion. Well, the actual yield, like what I'm actually getting, my total yield on my investment is not very high. You know, it's like 5 or 10%. It's like, okay, well, that's not better than TLTW or SFOL. That's not better. So what's all the hype about Defiance ETFs? I don't get it. Like, I just do the math and I'm like, I don't get it. Doesn't make sense to me. I have started seeing a couple channels change their tune on some of these high yield ETFs. And they're like, you know, it's only after being in them for like 6 months or 9 months where they're like, you know, it's not that great. The NAV is eroding. This is not getting me to where I thought it was going to get me. And so people are learning, unfortunately, but it's better to learn now than a year or two from now. I just worry that a lot of these high yield ETFs are going to ruin a lot of retirement dreams, because the yield coming off these things, it's juicy. It looks great. The problem is it's taxed at the highest rate, because it's taxed at normal income rates if you're not in an IRA, and it's not return to capital. And then you have to deal with the NAV eroding. And it's like, sometimes when you look at it, it's like, it's not that great. It's not what you thought it was going to be. Yeah, it has a high yield, but it's not that great overall in terms of growing your wealth. And that to me is like, that's the name of the game. Like, you want to grow your wealth. And you know, income people sometimes get in this mode. It's like that I see where they like the paycheck. They think it's magically different to get a distribution or dividend paid into their brokerage account magically every month than to just sell off a slice of an index fund or a growth stock or something else, which I think is a dangerous thing. It's like, it doesn't matter where the money comes. It doesn't matter how you got that money. It's like, if you want the money to be the most tax efficient and to be the most amount of money as you could, like you want your wealth to grow, it doesn't matter where it comes from. But some people are really fixated on it being a magical check that they get every month into their brokerage account. And if it's not that, well, they don't want it. They only want that magical check. They don't want to sell off a portion of a growth stock, an index fund, or whatever. They don't want that. That would perform better. Actually, here's the deal. With a lot of these ETFs, you're actually better off buying the underlying stock than you are buying into the ETF. Two examples of this are Coney and Misty, the YieldMax ETFs. Well, Coney and Misty have a great yield. What's the deal with this? You would be better, like, look at the charts, the price chart of MicroStrategy and Coinbase. If you went back and instead of buying Coney, if you bought Coinbase like last August and cashed out now, or you cash out this August, you would have done far better than you would have buying into Coney. But people buy into Coney, they like it because it's got a high yield, where actually it's like when the stock is growing immensely, tremendously, like during the crypto bull runs, like you're better off just buying MicroStrategy or buying Coinbase. You get better returns, better dollars, like than actually investing in Coney or Misty. So it's like those things, like I'm gonna get, like next crypto bull run, I'm gonna be in both of those, Coinbase and MicroStrategy. I won't buy into Coney or Misty unless potentially maybe in the bear market when there's nothing going on. I'll have to watch and see how those things perform. They're gonna crater. They're gonna absolutely crater in price after the bull run, because Coinbase stock is gonna crash, and so is MicroStrategy stock. I think it's gonna, unfortunately, it's gonna burn a lot of Coney and Misty investors. And this might affect like SQY as well for YieldMax, because it might exhibit some of the same things. I think a lot of people are gonna get burned. They're not gonna be aware of the fact that they should have sold off their Misty and Coney holdings before the end of the bull run, or they will have just forgotten to do it, and they're gonna get absolutely burned. And it could negate all the gains that they've had actually in their portfolio, because like their portfolio could drop like 90% or more, and it's like that could negate a lot of the if not all of the distributions they've received. So it will not, in that case, it will not have been a good game for them to have played. So if you're gonna play Coney and Misty and maybe even SQY, you got to know what you're doing. You got to get out before the end of the bull run. So it's like, if anybody's watching, you've got these things, I mean, do what you want. You wouldn't catch me dead owning these things probably past next March, probably. That's just me. Not financial advice, as always. Do your own research, make your own decisions. But that's a summary. Like, I don't hold any dividend ETFs or dividend stocks or growth stocks or index funds. I sold it all off. I'm 100% in Grayscale, minus a little bit of Virgin Galactic stock that I have for good luck in my portfolio. But that's it. And I'll go back and I'll buy index funds, growth stocks, dividend ETFs, starting late, 2 months maybe after I start cashing out or whatever. I'll start buying things again. But I'm going to be very careful about the high yield dividend ETFs, because I feel a little disillusioned with them. And it's like, there's always seems to be a catch. Like FEPI seems good, 25% yield, stable NAV, but the catch is return of capital. And that worries me a little bit for the long-term health of that fund. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that over a couple of years. So these aren't, in my opinion, these aren't buy and hold forever. You can't buy these things and expect they're going to be in place 20 years from now, still paying you great distributions. I don't know. A lot of these things, I don't think so. I mean, I think the NAV is going to go down significantly, and that's going to affect the distribution. It always does. So, all right, that's it for this video. Hope you guys are doing well. If you have a video suggestion, post it down below in the comments or on Discord. I'll see you guys soon. Take care.